Hello beautiful people, before we jump into this video I just want to say I have just filmed a festival makeup look for my second channel, hence why I have glitter on my face. So if you were curious as to why I look like a glitter ball, this is why. And you know what, I kind of like it. Like, I absolutely love this glitter. Like, if I could wear this every day and not get judged for it, I would. So if you want to see how I did this, just go on over to my second channel. It will be linked in the description, and just check out this video. I absolutely love this so much. I might start wearing glitter as a highlight more. Oh my god, I love this. I actually wish I was going to a festival right now because I really don't want to take this off. Like, I love it. But anyway, that's why I have glitter on my face. So today's video is rides for beginners. Now, I get a lot of comments on my videos, no matter what video it is, just like, oh, I'm going to Alton Towers this weekend, but I'm sort of scared of rides. What rides do you recommend? Or like, I'm going to Pleasure Beach this weekend, but I'm sort of scared of big rides. Like, how can I get over my fear of them? What are the best rides to go on, etc, etc. And even though I do reply to all of the comments, I just thought it would be a lot easier to make a video about it, just in case you were sort of slightly worried to comment because you don't want anyone to know that you're like scared of rides or something. So this video is for those of you who aren't really sure on sort of which rides to go on to help them get over your fear of roller coasters. Only one of these roller coasters go upside down, and I have one flat ride as well. So yes, I have been on all of these, so I do have some experience with them, and I think that they're really good for just sort of, if you really want to get over your fear, these are the best rides to go on. But this is just my opinion. You guys might have completely different opinions, so comment down below which rides you think are good sort of beginner rides. Like, not beginner rides as in like kids rides, but sort of thrill beginner rides, just to sort of, you know, get you going in, just so you can feel the sort of experience, if that makes sense. So yes, so the first one, you guys are gonna be so annoyed. I've mentioned this in so many videos before. It's my favourite, the big one. I know I mention it in every single video, and I'm sorry, but it's the big one. Like, I feel like it's just a really good coaster to, I don't know, it's such a good coaster to get over your fear of like big major rides. Like, this was my first major ride. It's a good ride to, oh my god, as if, I didn't realise the time, everyone's finishing school. Lovely. Okay, we're gonna have kids screaming outside for the rest of this video. Lovely. So the big one is a really good ride to help you get over your fear of heights. It's a really good roller coaster to get over your fear of just big rides, like big thrill rides. It doesn't go upside down or anything. It's just like nice and simple, and it's incredible. So like, to be honest, I was so scared when I first went on the big one. Like, I was shaking, I was petrified, but I had like really good company and I had people to look after me, so you know, it wasn't like too bad. But the big one is the big one is such a good coaster to get you sort of going on thrill rides, because it's just sort of, after that first drop, it's just nice and simple. That first drop is like really thrilling and I scream my head off every single time, but after that it's literally like, it's, I don't want to say it's nothing because to me it's not, but like, it's just nice and simple. Like, it's not really thrilling after that. It's just sort of, if you're scared of heights, then it's a good one to go on because it does go quite high, basically all throughout the ride. As soon as you go down that first drop, you're like lifted up again into the air, and then you're going down, then you go over that turn, and yeah, it's just an incredible ride to start you off on big rides. I've known a lot of people that have said that this was their first big ride. Even when I've been to Pleasure Beach and I've been queuing up for the big one, I've seen people like in front of me or like behind me saying, oh, this is like my first big ride, and they're like little kids as well. Like, oh my god, how are kids riding this? Like, I couldn't even ride it until I was 14. So it amazes me how little kids ride it, but hey, we're all different. So yeah, I just feel like it's a really good ride to sort of start off on, especially if you want to get over your fear of heights as well. It's a really good one to go for. But if you are sort of scared to go on it, just think after that first drop, it's literally like, it's so simple and it's not really thrilling after that. It's just sort of fun, you know. So that's why I've mentioned the big one. I didn't mention it just because it's my favourite. Like, I do think it is genuinely an amazing ride to get over your fear of big major thrill rides, because it isn't anything too thrilling, but then you also feel that thrill from it anyway, if that makes sense. So yeah, the big one. I know you're all sick of me talking about it, but I just think it's a really good ride. And the second ride I think is a really good one, maybe this one more for kids, is Flight of the Pterosaur at Portland's Park. Now this is classed as like a family ride, so you know, sort of have cheated here a little bit because it's not really like a major thrill ride, but I feel like you do get a thrill from it. Every time I go on it, I come off it feeling like, wow, that was incredible. And I've gone really bright. It might be because of the sun. Oh well, we're just gonna have to be really bright. So yeah, every time I come off it, I just feel this like thrill factor, and especially if you're sat on the back row, you just get like dragged along with the rest of the train, which is why I think it's so thrilling, because you're just getting like dragged along and pulled over the drops, and it's just the most incredible ride ever. And to be honest, when I first went to Portland's Park, I was quite scared to go on this, but I just did it and I came off it feeling incredible. Like, I absolutely loved it. So I feel like Flight of the Pterosaur is a really good one to start off on, especially if it's just like your first coaster ever. Maybe don't sit on the back row, but like more in the middle. It's a really good starter coaster. Like, if you've never been on a coaster before, it's a really good one to start off on. And if you want more of a thrill, make sure to sit right at the back, because it's so good at the back. Like, nothing compares to it right on the back row. Like, it's so good. So it isn't like too thrilling, but then I feel like you get that thrill factor from it. So that's why I feel like Flight of the Pterosaur is a really good ride to sort of, you know, get you going, and it will just sort of start you off really. Once you've done one thrill ride, you want to do them all. And when I was being persuaded to go on the big one, Lee kept on saying to me, like, once you've done it once, you want to do it over and over again. And I didn't believe him until after I came off it. Like, as soon as I came off the big one, I was just like, can we do it again? So trust me, once you've done one, you'll want to do them all, like all over the country, all over the world. You want to do all the thrill rides, like you want to do all of them. And the next ride I think is a really good ride for like your first upside down ride, is Millennium at Fantasy Island. This is my second favourite coaster and I absolutely love it. And this was only my second upside down coaster, so you know, like, it isn't that far away from the first. My first upside down coaster was Rage, for any of you guys wondering, but I've decided to put Millennium there as like a beginner's upside down ride, just because I feel like Millennium's more, what's that word, like, it's a bit more smooth and it isn't as thrilling as Rage in my opinion. So I feel like Millennium is a really good one to go for if you're sort of scared of upside down rides, but you really want to just sort of do it and just sort of get on one and get over your fear of it. Millennium is such a good coaster for it because it's only got 3 inversions and 2 of them are just loops. Just simple loops. I don't know what the 3rd inversion's called. Like, no, I don't know. No, not a barrel roll. I don't know, I'm sure someone can let me know in the comments. It's basically that 2nd inversion. So you go down the drop and then you have a loop and then it just goes straight and then you go like, straight and then you go like upside down and then it like, you sort of turn back on yourself and then you go into a few like ups and downs, you know, and then another loop and then sort of a helix and then you're back into the station. It doesn't last very long and you're not in them inversions for very long at all, like 2 seconds at the most and not even that. So yeah, if it is your first upside down coaster, I would recommend sitting more, either more to the front or more in the middle. I feel like on the back it's a lot more thrilling and I feel like, it sounds really weird, but I feel like you are sort of in those inversions for longer on the back row, just because again, like with Flight of the Pterosaur, you're just sort of being dragged along with the rest of the train, which I kind of love. Oh, my parents are at the door. 1 second. Oh my god, how awkward was that? Right, I thought my parents were at the door because they went out. My mum went to a funeral. And as I'm filming this, our water went off this morning. Like, we didn't have any water and it was leaking everywhere. So we had to like call someone to come and do it. I was hoping that my parents would be here when they came. They knocked at the door and I thought it was my parents. But it wasn't, it was the workmen. And it was the most awkward thing of my entire life because I had glitter on my face. And you have to be 16 if you're left alone with the workman. You have to be 16 or over, and obviously I am 16, and he asked me how old are you and I said 16 and he looked at me as if to say, I don't believe you, like just because I'm small doesn't mean I'm not 16. Oh my god, and that took a good like half an hour. Oh my god, that was the most awkward thing I've ever done. Now my parents are back. They came back as soon as he bloody finished it. How awkward. If I don't have glitter on my face, it probably wouldn't be that awkward, but when you're just at home with glitter on your face, it's a bit, it just looks a bit weird, doesn't it? You know, red lips, glitter. Enter. That was the most awkward thing ever. So, before that awkwardness, I'm not too sure where I left off. I think I was talking about Flight of the Pterosaur. I can't remember. But if I was, then Flight of the Pterosaur, such a good coaster to start off on. Even if you've never been on a coaster before, it's just a really good coaster to start off on, and you get that thrill experience, especially if you sit right at the back. So yeah, and I left my phone downstairs as well, so I haven't got like my notes with me, so I'm just gonna have to improvise. So the next ride I think would be a really good ride to sort of like start off on, you know, like the next beginner's ride is also from Paulton's Park. It's Velociraptor, and this is very similar to Flight of the Pterosaur. They both opened in the same year, they both have the same manufacturer. They're just different style rides. This Velociraptor is a boomerang, I think, family junior boomerang, I think, and then Flight of the Pterosaur is a family suspended coaster, I think. I'm not that technical with coasters, but I feel like not Flight of the Pterosaur, Velociraptor is a really good coaster to start off on. I only went on it for the first time like 2 weeks ago on my last trip, and I absolutely loved it. Like, I don't know why I was scared of it, because it's not as bad as it looks off-ride. Like, you look at it off-ride and it goes on the track really fast, and then you see it go backwards and it goes up really high. Like it's not really like that when you go on the ride. Again, I feel like you get more of a thrill if you sit more to the back, although I do feel like on the front row it is more forceful. I was hoping to sit right on the front row, but I couldn't, because every time somebody hijacked that like row, so we had to go like second to front, and it was a lot more forceful on the front than it was on the back, which I was actually really surprised at. I feel like no matter where you sit on Velociraptor, you get a thrill factor. It is better on the back, I think, anyway. Although if you want it to be a bit more forceful, just sit more near to the front, if not right at the front. Yeah, Velociraptor is just a really good coaster. Like I said, it's just like, it's a really good coaster to start off on if you've never been on a coaster before, because you do get like a thrill factor from it, but it isn't too thrilling. And it's also really good for like little kids as well, if it's like their first time at a theme park, and they get to experience a coaster going backwards. I didn't think I was gonna like it because I didn't like Revolution, Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and that goes backwards, so I thought I wasn't gonna like Velociraptor because of the backwards bit, but I was so wrong. Like, I absolutely loved it. I feel like because it doesn't go upside down, it's not as bad as like Revolution. So yeah, I feel like Velociraptor is like a really good ride to just sort of start off on, you know. Same as Flight for the Pterosaur, really. They're very, very similar. And the final ride I want to talk about and like advise you on is actually a flat ride, and this is at Fantasy Island. It's a shot tower and it's called Volcano. I absolutely love Volcano. Like, I love it so much. So much so it has to be one of my favourite flat rides ever. Like, I absolutely love it to bits. I was terrified going on this. My first shot tower, I only did it on my last trip to Fantasy Island, which was Easter this year, I think. And I was petrified. I was shaking, almost on the verge of tears, but you know what, I just did it, and I'm so glad that I did because I absolutely love it. So I feel like it's all well and good saying I'll get over your fear of roller coasters, and roller coasters is like the main thing, which, like, you know, to some extent it can be, but I feel like flat rides matter just as much as coasters. So I wanted to sort of include like a flat ride in here, just to sort of make it a bit more equal, especially like a shot tower, because I feel like some people won't go on shot towers because they do look very scary, and I was petrified going on my first one. But now I've done Volcano, I literally want to do like more and more. So I feel like Volcano is a really good one to start off on, because it's like, it looks really tall off ride, but when you actually go on it, it's not actually, you don't feel like you're like 200 foot up in the air or however tall it is. You do get incredible views, and it's just after you get shot up, it's literally nothing. Like, literally. It literally lasts like 10 seconds, not even that. The only thing I don't like about it is like the suspense of waiting, like when are you gonna get shot up into the air. But I feel like each and every time you go on it, it gets like less intense, I guess. I feel like first time I went on Volcano, I found it really intense because of that sort of suspense of waiting, and then all of a sudden you just get shot up into the air. And then I found myself, every time I went on it after my first time, I found it to be less intense, because I sort of had an idea of when we were going to get shot up into the air. So yeah, again, it's a really good one to start off on if you're scared of heights. It is completely safe because you have like over the shoulder restraints. You do get some air time, which I kind of like and then I kind of don't. But it is like just a really fun ride, and I definitely recommend it. It's like a really nice starter's flat ride, I guess. It's just a really good beginner's ride in my opinion. Like, it is really thrilling. So if you want that thrill factor that you've sort of like never experienced before, go on Volcano because it's so good. Like, it does look so scary, but once after you've been like shot up into the air, it's literally nothing. So yeah, so those were my rides that I think are good for like beginners, my beginners rides. You guys might think completely different to me. This is just based off my opinion. So comment below what you think are the best rides to start off with for beginners. I'm sorry this video was a bit all over the place with like the workmen coming and then my parents coming and all that, so yeah. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys on Wednesday. Yeah, it's a Saturday's video. On Wednesday for my top 5 series. If not, I'll see you guys next weekend for another video. Bye guys, love you.